Hey folks, Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Before we get going on today's discussion, one, I should switch proper glasses, and two, oh, these are filthy. Anyway, and two, I want to thank the people who made this program possible. We are made possible by our good friends over at the Independent Creator Directory. That's IndieCD.org, your one-stop shop for the best and the brightest authors, artists, and musicians. We are also made possible by, let's see, here we are, I think, sales of the Simple Sword, the Fighting Axe, and the Simple Spear, all part of our ongoing series of Western martial arts manuals designed to help you go from having never handled the sword to teaching the art to others. And down below it is a ongoing list, scrolling by, of the amazing folks who've hopped on my Patreon, who are oft neglected because I do everything here for you guys. And these wonderful people give of their time, their money, and their interests into the fine art of helping me give you what you want. Tonight, I do have a few things I want to talk about. Before I get into the chat, I've had some comments thrown my way, so there may be new viewers in the near future to present. Oh, I'm going backwards in time. That doesn't surprise me. Anyway, I was excuse me, a bit of the hiccups. I was questioned on how the veracity of what I do. Am I legitimate in my teaching, etc. Because I had simply made a comment on some forum, and I feel like I need to explain. I just want to make sure I'm never falsely presenting myself. I have designed, after, well, now we're going on a quarter of a century of intense study and work, a system that helps somebody go from having never handled a sword to teaching it to others. And I know I say that, but since the inception of since the inception of me having taken up the sword, almost immediately, in a matter of weeks to months, I was aiding others, and doing so with great effect. And I still do. The mission I have is not for me to win tournaments, although I came in second a lot. It's for me to help you, the viewer, the reader, in some cases, to find your way to handle a sword and related weaponry that works for you. Okay? While I do lay out a system that is based a little different than a lot of the minds of other systems, the idea is, instead of when people want to build the art, and they always try to stretch the top of the pyramid, the best of the best getting better and better and better. And that is a noble aspiration. And it is a great aspiration. I truly admire and am in awe of the people with the physical capability and the mental determination to reach those levels. And I have trained with Olympian. I have sparred against bronze medal winner. I mean, mind you, it was a long time ago, and they were a little on the older side, but I did. Uh, I sparred against regularly and worked with a gentleman who was an Olympic hopeful for quite some time, and he's still a formidable fencer. Uh, but my goal is instead to widen the base of that pyramid by bringing in as many people as would want to be involved in my case, Western martial arts. Some Eastern stuff creeps in, but I'll be honest, because of my disabilities slash deformities, I don't do a lot of kicks. I am not a kick based fighter because of the way I have to operate. So a lot of the Eastern stuff in that realm just never really worked for me. But what I did was I read every manual I could get my hands on, and I looked at them and I studied them, and I realized that everybody focuses on arguing about what they disagree on. You know, hold on, my camera's a little off because my cats were invading my show, so and that's the point you'll see in a lot of these. When you get really into it, what the goal seems to be for many swordsmen and instructors, they want to sound like the discussion from the cliffside duel between Wesley slash Dread Pirate Roberts at the time and Inigo Montoya. And this technique cancels this, and this does this, and all this high-end, complex, beautiful stuff, which if you even vaguely understand, it's mesmerizing. But I'm not that guy. So I looked at a bunch of manuals and I went, wait a second. They all basically agree, or the vast majority of them agree on this point. If you move like this, you will not be damaged. If you move like this, you will gain an advantage. If you move like this, you will lose an advantage. And I focused on understanding what everybody seemed to agree on and distilling it into the simplest, fastest to process work. I am not and never claim to be a grand, high innovator of the art. I will never likely be held in the ranks of a great many of the sword masters, either period, like my man Gigante. Everybody has their favorites, or even George Silver, whatever, or current folks like Anthony DeLongis, Sir Richard Anderson, Guy Windsor, Matt Easton with Skull of Gladiatoria. No, sorry. I love his stuff. I love a lot of the sword troopers. But, and yeah, ranges of the great sword troopers. Like, I'm not going to name the Australian's name because he's become a pain in the butt, and I just refuse to support that. But, the sellsword guys, Matt Easton, oh god, I can't think of the gentleman in the wonderful suit's name. I utterly adore his work. But my point being, that level and the next level down, Schologrim and Swords Age, I'll probably never even rank in those numbers. And I am not looking for that, in that I am not seeking fame for fame's sake and ego in any way, shape, or form. I want to share and educate the base because there is such a gap in knowledge and understanding of literal physical education to go from I've never handled a sword to get going. And all the systems are built around making the art work for somebody who is usually male, almost always male, who is of good health and reasonable capability. And that's their mindset. Even now, for the most part, the sword education is from the perspective of men. Now, I am encouraging both Amanda and Trilaina to at least write, if not a book, a paper, a something that can be disseminated, if not uh, you know, fully published, and I'd like them to make money on it too, and have them out more and more because we need accomplished, educated swordswomen to work with the people of that skeletal structure. Because women are not little men. Yeah, pamphlets is a good idea, but and it's one of those where I basically, other than what I put in my book, I almost refuse to write that because I am a man. Sorry to disappoint many of you. I'm a great many things, but in truth, I'm, as it would be say, cis male. What you see is what you get. But I really would prefer to encourage women the uh, in the fields to reach out and write, because it's very, very important that that exists. And I have a very tiny bit of light on me right now. I don't have a spotlight, but I have what I have. And if I can redirect that on to user of the XY chromosomes, to women, it will encourage women more. It's like, I want to use my platform. I want to use what ability I have to reach out to these educated women. Heck, there are several in the SCA I would beg to write a book. That I knew quite well, even if I have personal disagreements or whatever. They should. Because the experience for a woman, I can witness it, I can see it, I can try to mitigate it, but I can't speak with their voice because it's not my voice. And this isn't like woke or anything. This isn't a political statement or anything. It's a simple fact. And I want to both expand and encourage. And yes, nurture women in the art. And I'm sorry I've neglected the chat. I had all these thoughts bubbling in response. And it's funny because I'm supposed to be talking about what I do, and I'm getting sidetracked trying to promote and build women in the art. Because I have a dream, so to speak, of being completely obsolete. And not because I'm physically too damaged, disabled to do it. but because I want a world where the counseling side of what I do for women is a relic of the past because they don't need it anymore. A huge part of me desperately wants a world where a woman doesn't have to worry about coming to someone like me because they're trying to regain their power, or a man, or anybody in between. I really don't judge. I mean, I'm really just about, are you a decent person to me and mine and in general? And I want to celebrate and incorporate our differences. And use that to build people up. And help people. Not just with physical limitations, but trauma survivors. I want you guys to feel safe. And I know one of the only ways someone can feel safe is if, to any measure, they can start to regain their personal power. And martial arts in general give that. And that's what I'm trying to do. And yes, I have studied. And part of my mission, I had a student back when I was in the SCA, and I was a marshal in training at MIT. And student of mine, very good fencer, no issue with his fencing. But there are questions that you have to be able to answer in an authorization. Authorization means you're just being tested if you're safe enough and you understand enough to fight in SCA tournaments and melees. That's it. It's a test of skill, and it's not about being great. It's, are you competent, and you're authorized. But he had the kind of dyslexia that makes mine look like a blurry set of glasses. And I looked, and at the time, I was not as internet savvy as I am. There was no one who would read the manual to him. So I not only taught him, I taught him the techniques that are the simple sword. I read the manual to him, and we went over it so that he could understand and answer the questions. That shouldn't have been necessary. That shouldn't have been needed. Now, I'm not saying this to toot my horn, because I shouldn't have had to do that. But I did. And I did. And the fact that it never occurred to anyone in the society in the many years that at least the mid-realm had been fencing. I don't know if there's a reading of the heavy manual, but it needed systems to provide. And that's what I do. I try to find low cost means or lower cost means to do what we do. I try to help people adjust the fighting styles to do what they're capable of. My original instructor he's still alive. I don't speak to him, but he's still alive. Severe debilitating arthritis and joint issues. And he still fought. And despite all our differences, I will never not respect the man for doing so. My first sword master, a fellow by the name of Dennis Yakis. I learned a lot from him and the people who were in uh, what became the Black Hand, which was a household. Uh, Folks like Bob Houghton and Jody Kingerly Houghton. Uh, there were times when we were fairly close. And that didn't, and though we separated, I do respect those people. I respect those people enough to state their names. I've learned huge amounts from John Miner, good and bad. But none of them were doing that. So that's what I try to do, to answer the people who are asking about that. Now, I'm going to go through the chat because I'm a bit behind on the chat. And then I'm going to go inward to talk some more. I've got some slightly juicy news that is making me just feel a little burbly. I could be percolating towards having to save up for something, possibly something fancy for myself. We shall see. Because if they're doing what I think they're doing, I may have to throw some love. Now, going through, first of the door is Grimm's Dream. Hello, Grimm, my dear. You are sharply missed. And you know where I will be next Thursday. You are more than welcome and or requested to show up if you are willing. If you can't, due to health reasons, I fully understand. But it's great to see you, Grimm. And there's Thesis. Hello, Thesis. It's interesting because I see a lot of aspects of what I do and what Thesis does. There's similarities and a whole lot of potential, which is why I'm very hard on him. I know I don't give a lot of wiggle room. And when I don't give a lot of wiggle room to somebody, it means one of two things. Either they're a rampant 7-letter word that speaks to their character and how they behave, or they have significant potential. And if it's a very specific type of nagging annoyance, it means I really believe that they have potential if they work into doing it and get over whatever's impeding them. And some people really need a gentle hand, and some people need a nudge, boot to the small of the back to go, look, you are at this level. I will get you, you need to go to the next level, but not necessarily in your personal technique. I'll be honest, I have not seen enough of Thesis's personal technique, especially at all recently, to speak to it. But he's done enough and does enough that it's time for him to write down what he does, in part because the effort will make him a much better instructor, and in part because we are mortal beings. I am a man. I am not an idea yet. but I will become an idea till I'm forgotten. So I need to preserve as much of that as possible. And because I have skill sets, and we are in a world where knowledge and skill are being eroded by the ease of things like AI, we have to preserve what we know and what we do and what we've done. So I bug him a lot. But anyway, good evening, Thesis. I hope you're having a good one. Hello, Thesis. And hello, Simple Sorted Groupies. Hey, Dave, how are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Dave's just such a great guy. I love Dave. And Grim says, fueled by spite because that one guy sucked. You know what? There is a huge level. There are two negative figures in my past that exemplify, one, what I don't want to be, and two, why I can never stop. One of said figures is the embodiment of arrogance and foul behavior, a vile waste of oxygen, who has done great harm to many to boost his own ego, but has done good for some as long as it profited him. So it's a complex thing. I have not, however, forgiven. So I'll never name him. And another is somebody I have history with. And because I have history with him and other people from my younger days, it is in everyone's benefit for me to continue to stay in shape as best I can. Such days. Joking. No, I know you're joking, but you're also not wrong. Nick, you'll train me, not them? All right, I'll go with them. Yeah, basically. And that going with them has brought me to having discussions that have turned into wonderful lectures and presentations across multiple groups, hosting workshops, holding an exchange, 3 published books. The 4th is in the works. Woo-hoo. I'm getting close though. Just trying to get people started and sorted out. And yeah, Friday night sword fighting, huzzah! Absolutely. And I do. There is not a day that goes by that I don't, unless mortally ill, put my sword in my hand. But I could never not. And I love teaching and I love helping people. So I will do it as long as I can get wheeled out to help. Yeah, kicking hurts hips and knees and ankles. I really am not a kicking person. And I'm glad Botrix joined the channel. And where you can reach. Yep. It's all about, if I only help one person, at least I've helped one person. But I'd like to see you guys go out because you can help people that I might not be able to. Pamphlets, yeah, even pamphlets. And that's not a bad point. That's not a bad point at all. Users of XY chromosomes, basically, or at least the ones who appear to be, nurture women in the art. That's what we're about. And I would get on my knees for you, begging you to write a book, please. Oh, I do. I do so much. I almost feel bad about how much I nag folks. A great video of rock climbers, males, Olympics. Smart woman was the only one who could reach a checkpoint because she used her figure and frame. Yeah. It's one thing that I find about women versus men in discussion from tactical perspectives. Different is not always lesser. Now, there are some very real logistical things that have to be understood. As a median norm, most men have stronger upper body strength than women. They just do. Most men have longer reach than women. Again, they just do. Across the board in percentages and stuff. They tend to have heavier frames. The musculature is different, so that they can endure different types of damage. There are theories to that. But what I can ascertain, undoubtedly, is that doesn't mean they're superior. It means they're different. You have to use different tactics. And we must, especially those of us with a limitation, or who are smaller than our opponent or weaker than our opponent, which in reality we're going to encounter quite a bit. We have to understand the realities and then adapt to do the best with what we have, because we have no alternative other than complete surrender. And I am far too argumentative a soul for complete surrender to anyone but God. And I still screw that one up. And at times my wife, which is half a joke, but half not, because I love my wife. Anyway, it's the only way we're going to get better. And we deserve it. But we're going to have to work for it. And like I said, I would say we, because I'm on the shorter side. I am debilitated. And I've been at this a long time. So I hope that answers any questions on all that. Sorry if it's a little rambling. I've got a lot of other things going on right now, and it is one of the tougher times of year for me. So, what else is going on in the stream? Let's see. Go down the line to catch where I was. I would get on my... Yes, we covered that. Rock climbers, finding a voice, even if it's small. That's your goal. Hell yeah, I want others to find a voice. I want to help others what they can. And what of money? Yeah, I have a lot of little goals, many small goals. I'm kind of big on concepts like inclusion. I know that's one of those bad words I'm not supposed to use according to the mandates, but I'm okay with that right now. I'm okay. Because I'm kind of really big on it. But everybody deserves a chance to try to learn. Everyone deserves a chance to an extent, be the hero, the main character of their own lives through whatever means drives them forward. Or do a packet. Hey, put one of those clear sale plastic covers, smack a price. You really are looking for the go. There used to be these laminated guides, and I'm sure they're still out there. I can't remember what they were called, but they were little note things for college. And they'd be like one sheet laminated. And it'd be like, this is how you do geometry. Oh, I can't remember the term for those things. But can't cover my mouth while I'm speaking. You guys can hear. But yeah, you know what? Maybe I can. I know there's a great book by Toby Beck that's out there. The Armored Rose. And I have copies. Well, I have a copy because my copy keeps getting swiped or given away to people who need it. It's sort of like Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman, which is not about sword fighting, but is about philosophy. And even if I don't agree with it, I am motivated. There's a lot to learn in that book. It's a very good book, and it's one of my chief giveaways. So yes, do it. Do it. Write something. You know who you are. Punch a hole. Yeah. Put those metal straps. Yes. And you can use more of your own references to it as a personal copy. Yes. It's a great format. Uh, so yes, I will be bugging and continuing to bug people like Thesis and Trilaina and Amanda and a few others. Hi, John. If you're watching, Mr. Miner, it's time. The time has come. So, that's what I want for you guys. Now, I did find something interesting in my digital travels, and that it's coming and it's not here yet. But it is something I want to discuss. Oh, that's adorable. Uh, yeah, I like to do this because then it's easier and I don't lose Windows. Okay. Uh, yeah, this is. Obviously, there isn't a picture, but our good friends over at Purple Heart Armory, I have a link. I don't know if it works anymore, and frankly, I don't even care. I want to support an American company, and I want to get you guys good gear. So that's why I like Purple Heart Armory. They're going to be making a Penty rapier trainer, and I am very much interested in that. So I'm going to set that up to email me when it's back in stock. And we go pink, pink. Which, let's see, where were we? Because he also has a basic trainer that he is ranking at $80, which is not his normal price range at all. So I am going to put this, and I'm going to seek this out. And I know I'm using my business email for this, but I checked the new and upcoming because we are in need of more rapier-like substances at a reasonable price because these are painfully expensive. They're beautiful, but they are painfully like no. Do not spend $500 on a. Oh, is that life steal? Oh no. I'm gonna lust for a moment. Do you mind? Do you mind if I lust for a moment? Ooh, and it comes with a free keyring. I need details. Munitions grade line. We offer solid weapons designed for modern fencing. These weapons keep it more affordable. I'd have to check the ratings on something like that. I mean, it's insane. This is insane. That's more than my first car. Hmm. And it looks like I'm going to have another book to try to track down. But I was looking up just rapier substances because that's what I do. And is so tricky. There. You know, let's see. Sadly, we can't eat all the pretty things that are shiny. No. You guys. You. Wait. You guys. I can't know this. I can't know that this silly thing exists because it's a terrible, impractical, but it's a Halo energy sword. Oh my gosh! It's a Halo energy sword. I am a nerd. I'm a complete nerd. I admit it freely. But it's so... You gotta be kidding me. Oh, and that's not... That's expensive, but it's not stupid money. See, I'm not going to be able to throw 120 at the basic Montante synthetic trainer. I think that's going to be a little bit more than I could swing. Now, this, I have one. It is downstairs, and I really will probably want to order multiples. This is the pointer. Guys, this little fellow is essentially built on needles dimensions from Game of Thrones. And I have not watched a single episode of Game of Thrones, but I've seen a lot of clips because they've been sent to me. And I have a couple characters I greatly like. And of course, the first one was allegedly killed. I say allegedly because he died off screen on Game of Thrones, and no one dies off screen on Game of Thrones. So I have suspicions, but that's neither here nor there. This is so very nice. .30.5 blade over, like the 24-inch blade, guys. I love a 24-inch sword. Oh, now this is a great offhand. This is a great parry weapon, but it is so sweet. I would love to see him make one in the Penty line. Now, the reason I mentioned the Penty line is the Penty line are his actual flexing nylon bladed fancy weapons. And they're some of my favorite on Earth. They are on par with the trainers you would get from South Coast, what is it? Black Fencer, South Coast Armory, South Coast something. Anyway, they are wonderful weapons and made in America and cheaper. So I am always excited. I'm looking to see what else is rattling down the pipe, but that is painfully stupid to me, but that's going to float somebody's boat. And yeah, okay, it looks like I have basically caught up the Mingjian. Oh, okay. I think this was 50. I really believe this was 50, but I have gotten to play with this thing because Trilaina has one. If you haven't, stop that. If you haven't had a chance, this is a fundamentally brilliant, lightweight, just gorgeous buckler. I truly adore it, and I heartily encourage you, if you have the funds, to get one. I don't have the funds. I also have several Tarjas now, so life is a good thing for me. Now, I am tempted to get the Vietnamese gown just because that's going to move very much in a way that I am familiar with. And the irony of me learning about Vietnamese martial arts intrigues me. So the couple manuals I am interested in. The Hungarian punching saber shield. All of this is good stuff, but we've stumbled into something that I need to talk about. So I'm sorry, I was looking at gloves. Let me just go here. Let me just chill for a second. Grim is messing with me. But that's okay. There are a lot of great fencing gear, toys you can get out there, but you have to be careful with your armoring. And frankly, the older I get, the more ingrained in the old SCA approach of making your own I respect more, because I am hearing again, I'm hearing stories of some of these $400 plastic gauntlets breaking because they're using the wrong equipment. You really need to keep when you're doing what we do, because we go across many styles and many trainers. You want to match weapon with weapon. So if somebody's fighting a steel trainer, you need to be fighting an equivalent steel trainer. If somebody's fighting with a foil, you need to be fighting with a foil. When you start bringing plastic in heavily to against metal gear, the plastic will get chewed up and or destroyed. And if you're okay with that, if you see your trainers as something that's semi-disposable, rock on. And quantity, not quality, from some people, bulk business is self for money. That's true too. But what I am seeing because I've been seeing a lot of injuries and a lot of equipment failures in the hemisphere. Which tells me that there is a tremendous lack of oversight. There's a tremendous lack of safety. Hi, Sarah. I know the odds of you making it to StompCon are slim, my dear, but I am truly hoping you do. Because if you can come to StompCon, there's a chance I can introduce you, one, to Grim, because you know Grim, trust me on this one, and two, to Churro. And you'll be delighted by both these individuals. You'll be delighted by Max too, but that's not fair because Max delights everyone. He's just that guy. Anyway, to people wondering about StompCon and why I shared it at the beginning of this video, StompCon is a free gaming convention that we hold in Fowler, Indiana. Authors come out, they sell their books. I run my booths, and we do a big Stompy Robots table. And the idea is I want to bring, we've got a great, By the Board comes out. If you want to see an amazing, God, I love these people. It's written by a beautiful woman by the name of Adrian Plummet. I never can say her last name right without looking at it. But absolutely wonderful game shop. Probably my favorite. StompCon is Saturday, September 13th, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. officially. And I say that to get around hobbling through the evening and the night. So you might be able to make an early part and then have to go home, depending on the drive and the situation. I haven't heard from you in a while, but we need to chat. However, that's a situation for another time. But yes, we also need to get a sword in your hand and work you past anything that your ex may have taught you isn't really valid. So we will talk. And that's what we're about here. We're about helping people learn. However, the kiddo, I have not grown less sassy in your absence at all. To the contrary, the older I get, the sassier I am, and I have as of next Thursday, I will be a bit older, so I will be sassier. You can expect that level of shenanigan out of me. Now, I do, really? Okay. I do hope to have practices again. We just we had some grounds problems. Basically, a lot of my yard shifted, and we're not sure why. And I'm having trouble finding a flat enough space to spar on. But we're working on it, and it's getting better. There's a chance that tomorrow, if my health and weather hold out, I might be doing something else in the vein of striking metal that is very hot into other things and just playing with it. There is a ever so slight chance that I might break out my welding equipment too and try to work on that. Blasted yard work, indeed. We also are prone to a very specific type of thistle that makes this ball of hate, and I am highly allergic to that. So it's a challenge, but we will overcome it. I have a gaggle of would-be students right now that if I would overrun my policy of I don't train minors for legal reasons, I'd have a large group. But I'm working with the library, that being the Benton County Public Library, to do guided drills, essentially. Because we can't spar on site. I also plan this winter at the said library, with the assistance of at least the lovely Trilaina Bachman, to record the Simple Sword, basically step by step in a video format. And if I can pull that off this winter, and I'm saying this winter because I want to reserve a specific part of the library for a specific time, etc. I can then, I'm more likely to have the assistance, and then I can get that out. So that is something I'm actually going to be working on fairly soon. I'm going to take one of my copies of the Simple Sword and mod it for work, highlighting what needs to be discussed, etc. I am about 75-80% done, I think, with the Rapid Rapier. If I get a motivated day where my brain is clear, I could possibly even knock it out. It would be one of those, if I just dug in and I could get hyper focused for a few hours, activate, ADHD super skill. But that is coming. And what the Rapid Rapier is a focused I'm sorry, should be coffee wet, Nick. A focused introduction to basic rapier. Only single, with only the bits that somebody would need to know to drill and possibly spar in that. I am debating putting advice for authorizations in, but I don't want to get in trouble. Not that I'm sure that I could, but it's something we can discuss. Like I said, that's part of what's holding it up. I'm working a bit with the formatting. I have changed it to be much larger print. I have changed it to be black and white. This will make it less expensive than the Simple Sword. And then after that is done, I am thinking of doing something very drastic, and starting the process of formally setting up a second edition of the Simple Sword. It's been 15 years. I probably should update it. That's daunting, but it is something that is in the works. I hope it is of. I hope my books are of service. Now, there also was a glitch where all the books that I sent to the Benton County Public Library weren't there. They weren't in the system. They were just gone. Apparently, they got pulled accidentally. No one's real sure, but that should be rectified. And I will be double checking that after this stream. So that is where we stand. Beyond that, I have been working with the spear system that I showed you a while ago that I'm really, to anyone who wants to learn spear, I think I found the cheapest, most effective way to get a quality spear simulating object. And that is to go down, well, first you order the cold steel spearhead trainer, right? And then you go down to your local hardware store. If you're in our area, I went to Menards, and the wooden, let's see, the spearhead trainer. Hold on, let me just do this. I'm going to bring this back up. So give me just a second. And I need to shrink this down to bring that back up. There we go. Cold steel. Well, one word. Cold steel spearhead trainer. We'll let that one go for a while. It should. And it's not showing up. Okay, fine. It didn't like the way I was working it. Okay. Sorry, I am looking to find where it lives here before I can. Let's see. Is it not here anymore? Oh, it's not coming up. It may no longer be offered by these fine gentlemen. Let me go spear and double check. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Powell's Hectormeyer, Rangek. These are actually delightful. The Partisan Spears, Tip of the Spear Award. No. I think he's not. Is he not carrying these anymore? I'm sorry. We will look. It may be a case of if they're not produced in America because of the tariffs. Okay, that has come down. But that means I have to do something. Give me just a second. Boom. Because I probably ordered it here anyway. Steel spear trainer. That should bring up these guys. Yeah. I've purchased from different places. Same thing. This guy is $11.99. Okay. Now, if we go to second Menards, and we go Give it a second to do what it's doing. Replacement broom handle tapered. Give that a moment. Aha! Let's see. Nope, that's not the one. That's not the one. They're not showing it, are they? Are they going to be a pain in the butt? They are being a bit of a pain in the butt. Okay, well, we will go up here and just... Yeah, here we go. You can use this too, although at the time I used a different one, but it was about the same price. So about $11. I think mine was $6. I want to say it was $6. It was dirt cheap. Let's see. Let me see if I got. Wood broom handle. Here we go. Oh, so didn't see wood broom handle. Aha! Here we go. This guy, 60-inch, because you want those extra inches. Broom handle. I paid the $640, but $640, $11.99, sub $20. You can make a really great, really practical training spear. And I just can't tell you enough how important it is to train in different styles. Once you've achieved a basic understanding, especially of sword, you really, really need to try, if you have the interest and ability, to expand to either to smaller weapons and or to reach weapons, spears, polearms, something like that, mass weapons, something like an axe. Understanding these different weapons at different lengths will allow you to gain the physical flexibility to walk by, pick up any object in an emergency, and know, is this likely sturdy enough? Is this likely safe enough? Is this better than being unarmed? And that level, sledgehammer. I love sledgehammers. I used to carry a 2-pound short-handled sledge. That was my persuader. I almost painted it blue, because then it would have been crystal blue persuasion, the sledgehammer of subtlety. But I'll actually hopefully be using my sledgehammer tomorrow to do some metalworking. We'll see. But understanding the basic classes of weapon is what lets you understand how to improvise and adapt. To borrow a phrase from the military, I believe it's the Marine Corps, rather fond of: improvise, adapt, overcome. But that is a really great approach to what we do. Now, I know that the tariffs are going to hit. I know that prices are going to go up. And that's going to put the squeeze on a lot of you, especially if you're just trying to get started and you just want something to train with. So if you're working alone and the object is safe and sturdy, anything, especially like this guy, my Sticko anything, can be a trainer. You can acquire this kind of thing super cheap and do your drills. I know I say do your drills. I know I say read my book, do your drills. If you have Kindle, it's available. And I don't mind. I love it. I love seeing people have read through my book on Kindle. And my favorite is when they've read through it on Kindle and then they bought a copy. And then a little later they buy a hard copy. My heart heart delights to my very soul when I see that. The only other thing I love better is when I see one person buy a book somewhere, and then a couple days later I see two or three others, a little poop, because that means somebody bought it, learned it, talked about it, and is either trying to teach out of it or has a group that needs to learn it, and then it expands. This chef's kiss is a beautiful thing because that means people are learning to sword fight. And that's what I want. I want people to learn the skill and get all the benefits that it gives. I want you to be healthier. I want you to be more mindful of the world around you. I want you to be less klutzy. I want you to be more confident. And I want the chance for you to be a little safer. Because one thing is, if you're sparring, we're going to talk about the confidence for just a second. If on the weekends you throw knives and you throw axes and you sword fight with people, like I do, well, I used to. I don't get to do it nearly as often as I wanted to. But if you do these things regularly, someone yelling at you because you made a mistake at work is less devastating. It's less bothersome. Learning the skills that allow for you to understand range, for you to understand timing, for you to understand how you go about this sort of thing is going to help you so much. And it gives you the sense of perspective of Mandy was talking, somebody was yelling at her. She's like, dude, I get hit with baseball bats essentially on the weekends for fun. That's where we stand, friends. We can recalibrate our perceptions. And in this time of unease, in this time of conflict, and at times unrest, we need to have the confidence to stand by our morals. We need to have the courage to boldly and civilly and calmly speak our minds. And we need the capacity to, when threatened, defend ourselves or at least understand the means of escape. And when you start looking that way, the practical applications of what we do become very apparent. If you understand shield walls, you can understand how to remove yourself from a situation if a protest that you're not prepared for pops up or there's a heavy response. To accept the counter isn't against us and just have people in your corner. Yeah. And Art and Tales. Art Tales is usually something I would be able to work on more in October. I like to do the prompt contest and Art and Tales was actually generated by the first by a random generation of prompts that I did daily. I don't do actual Inktober because the person who started that did some very stupid things and very unkind things. So, yes, I wasn't where to find them. Oh, Graham is trying to get me to write more. I have two major projects that I'm working on that need to be done relatively quickly, being Hates and Hellfire 2. And I am working on Rapid Rapier. But I'm also running a convention. I'm having the ramifications of a major festival about a quarter mile from my house. Actually, it's somewhat mile, half mile, mile. I don't know. It depends where you end up on the place versus my house. But close enough that it is a major event that I have to be prepared for. Um, and a few other items that are going on in my life where my assistance and attention are required, uh, alongside my working with my autistic son. It does give me a very busy schedule, but thank you. It's important for me to hear that people want to hear sequels or more of what I want to do. I'd love to sit back and I have some great stories that need to be written down for Through the Thinning Veil two, the sequel to Through the Thinning Veil. It might be Within the Veil. I'm not sure. Uh, it's going to be a series of a mix of some of these stories will be totally fiction, and some of them will be based on actual events. And we'll see. We will see. But I am well over my hour, and honestly, guys, I got a bit of a headache. So I think I'm going to call it here. Thank you for your discussion. It was surprisingly lively for the small attendance. But you guys are incredibly prized. Those of you who are here, please hit the like button because I'm really fighting the algorithm on this one. And just keep your eyes open, keep your guard up, do your drills, be kind to yourself and each other. And as always, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. I will be back in a week to discuss this. And I will be over on Nevermind the Furthermore when which is from YouTube on the other channel, uh, the historical, the Nicholas Tucker channel, and on Twitch and on Kick, all my shows go to the same channel. I had to split this channel off from what I do personally, just for kind of safety for both channels. So thank you for the company while working. It's always a pleasure, Sarah. Singular person. Yeah. Grim, you know who you need to email. Just sit down and do it. Reach out. Hopefully, I will see you next Thursday. For the rest of you, I'll see you next week. Toodles.